Okay, so Winota is the new top dog in Standard. It got a lot more help from the Adventures of Forgotten Realms set than than most people expected. The big adds were in the form of Prosperous Innkeeper, which A ramps you into Winota tunes sooner, and B is a 1/1 attacker that powers up Winota. You also have Minsk Beloved Ranger, who creates a 1/1 red hamster with Trample and Haste, which is pretty cool, which also triggers Winota and fits in the curve pretty nicely. And Lair of the Hydra is also a pretty cheap, uncounterable, hard to deal with way to trigger Winota as well. You can power this up for 1, and it still gets you a Winota trigger. And you can still win the game even if they manage to kill Winota. Importantly, we have the Cadillac, which was great in the Gruul deck we just saw, but it's also very good here. If you go into your turn 4 and you want to play Winota, but they're holding up what looks suspiciously like removal, then Chariot's a very good way of punishing them. And everything else is pretty standard. It's what we've seen in these lists before. The sideboard is mostly tuned for the mirror with things like Red Cap Melee and the Akroan War. Burning Hands is good against Sultai, against Vorinclex and Elder Gargaroth and the like. And we have Clothis and Ox for Rogues, which is also picked up in popularity. So Rogues is probably our toughest matchup, but we haven't seen that yet today. Oh, we did see that with Gruul earlier, but we put them out of their misery pretty quickly. Let's see how Winota goes. Alright. So, opponent shows Yorion. And our hand is pretty good if we draw untapped land. If we draw untapped land, the hand's nuts. I think this is a keep. We're sad if we don't draw untapped land. But if we do, it's pretty great. Temple of Epiphany. So it's not Sultai. So we can either take a turn off, play another Prosperous Innkeeper, but I don't think that's great. Just attack. What are we up against here? Grixis. Alright. That's a pretty good draw. This is a streamer? Okay. So Grixis is probably running Prismari Command, which is a pretty reasonable answer to the Chariot. I think I'm just going to play the Spellbinder here and attack. Wow, okay. Essence Scatter. Not one you see often. Found white. I'm just gonna slam Chariot here. Okay. So we're up against like Grixis control. They're a modern player? Okay. I mean, they've certainly come with all the answers so far. Kenny is interesting, right? But I don't think it's what we're after. Let's just attack. I guess this sucks if they have Dwari Disruption. But like, how many answers could they realistically have here? Okay, I think the dog is a pretty good draw here. Because I didn't really want to power up the chariot. Because I'm just so convinced that they have removal. But this probably puts them in a bit of a bind. If they want to use, like, Prismari Command to kill the chariot, they have to do it now. Actually, I guess they don't have to do it right now, because they can do it with the crew on the stack. But we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, cool. Shark Typhoon for 3 is fine. They block the 2/2, which makes me think they don't have a Wrath, or you would just block the Chariot. Next turn we can even Kenny give haste and trample if we want. Bottom, bottom. Opponent just is kind of dying. Selfless Savior is going to make their life hell. Is this Prismari Command? Looks like it. So the 3/3 blocks, the 2/2 we get in for 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scries to the top. Okay. That's pretty good too. So I'm gonna play Kenny. Then we will crew the Chariot with Kenny. We can just attack out first. Yeah, okay. So Grixis-y control-y stuff. I mean, probably want Redain. They're probably running sweepers. Clothis may be difficult for them to deal with. Did we see any, like, graveyardy stuff out of them? Not really. I think I do want the Clothis. What don't I want? I feel like Ranger class is much better on the play than on the draw. Maybe I cut the Ranger classes on the play and bring them in on the draw. And is there anything that's just awful if it just dies the second it comes into play? Not really. Almost everything gives us value as soon as it comes into the battlefield. Kenny is probably like the worst of the bunch. So we'll cut him, I think. Oh boy. That's a hand of magic cards. Okay. I mean, the explosion of mana on, like, turn 3 is going to be real. I think it's the Historian that goes back. Hopefully we can draw on tap land again. Nope. Presumably they kill the Sentinel here. If they don't, we can at least put the Savior in play. Sure. That's, scary. If we draw untapped land, we play Lotus Cobra, crack the Passage. It's still only one extra trigger. We'll just crack it now. And fetch white. Okay. So I guess it's Cobra plus Savior here. Luckily the Nightmare doesn't hit us. Nightmare is an interesting choice against us, right? Like, the second and third chapters don't really accomplish anything. Main phase, Omen of the Sea. Opponent has had a hard time finding their lands this game. Bottom, bottom. Okay, and they found their red, which they were missing. Winota. Okay. So we can Prosperous Innkeeper and have Winota available next turn, but I just think it's so unlikely that they have any... that they don't have any answer to her. So I think I'm just going to attack out first and then play the Spellbinder. It's kind of cool that we drew the Winota after we revealed our hand, so they think we probably don't have it. Boss's Intervention, so we can sack the Savior at least to fizzle this so they don't gain the life. Yeah, Power Word Kill, and they have Expressive Iteration. So Expressive Iteration is probably the most powerful raw card, but if we draw untapped red, then we basically win the game with Winota next turn. It's close. I think it's the Power Word Kill. No, actually, you know what? In retrospect, it was the Expressive Iteration, because then if they play it on their turn, because it's a sorcery, then they have to tap out, and they don't get to Power Word Kill anyway. Yeah, so it was... okay. Alright, so we have no non-humans left in play to trigger Winota. We do have the lair, if we ever get to activate that. I wonder what the opponent does here. Ooh, Prismari Command's a good one. Alright. May foretell something as well. Alright. Okay. So now they can answer Winota with a 4-mana removal spell, but we're kind of just continuing to beat them down. And we have a Chariot coming into play. Scry's top. Okay, they use the cheaper Power Word Kill. It's kind of cute. We found another Winota. What's better? Like, we're pretty sure they have, removal lined up, right? So let's attack and play Chariot. Yep. Hey, welcome back, Dazon. Okay. So we can just play Winota and use it to crew the Chariot. And if they kill Winota, we're still attacking for lethal. So, yeah, good luck. So they need like a counterspell here. They need to have Winota not touch the battlefield. And they have it. Okay. That was a pretty good rip off the top, not gonna lie. They drew land. Okay. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're dead. Cool. Well, that went pretty well. 1-0. That deck does feel a little bit too strong with the Prosperous Innkeeper. That's definitely going to be tough to beat. That said, as Dead Zone knows, Grixis never wins anything. So... the Highlander. Oh yes. Oh yes. Might have a mirror here. Problem is when you don't draw Winota, but it's even then it's not so bad because you have the Seeker's Chariot, which is in some matchups even better. Alright, so we have a mirror match here. We probably need to take Winota with Dispatch, although we can't stop it. So I think the play here is just Innkeeper. Because next turn we can play the Lotus Cobra and the Fable Passage and get full value off of it. So... if we draw... This is an aggressive attack. Wonder what's holding priority. Oh, the Lair of the Hydra is. So, Lotus Cobra, Fabled Passage into Spellbinder. Seems outstanding. Yeah, let's start with an attack. So, like, this attack last turn makes me think that they decided they weren't blocking with the Sentinels under any circumstances, which is pretty weird, and only makes sense if they're not willing to risk this at all, which makes me think that they almost certainly have Winota in hand. Now, if they have two, well, what can you do? They drew 2 Winotas when we didn't, and they were on the play. They have 2. Great. Don't be sorry, man. No problem. There's no way we're beating this, unfortunately. Like, we just need them to whiff. If somehow they do, maybe we can get a Blade Historian down and just beat them. Whiff. Not a whiff. This is only a swing for 5. I think we keep this and hope that we find a better Winota. We do not. So our mana's awkward too, like we can't cast the Blade Historian here. We need it untapped red or white. I think we're just dead, unfortunately. I think we played this game just fine, just not in the cards. The pre-combat Innkeeper is interesting. If they hit Kenrith, then of course we're just screwed. Attack with everything, huh? Oh my god. Okay, well the double blade historian doesn't really matter. Okay, that's... Okay, I guess we'll let this go. We'll take as little damage as possible. Alright, as much damage as possible and hope to draw Winota. Like, what... How much damage is this? This is 4, 12, 18, yeah, 24, 32, 38. Alright. 38's a little too much. I don't think we can get through the next turn with enough of a board to win with Winota if we rip it off the top. But, let's see. In the mirror, we bring in 3 copies of Red Cat Melee, 2 copies of Bone Crusher Giant, 1 copy of Ranger Class, cut a Blade Historian, cut 3 Spellbinders, and cut 2 Sentinels. Cutting 2 Sentinels seems insane to me. But okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we played that pretty well. Like, you know, we even played Spellbinder on the last possible turn. They just had 2 Winotas. What are you gonna do? I think this is okay on the play. I see the announcement in Innistrad sneak peek tomorrow. No, I didn't. Are they... like, they just finished the spoilers for Jumpstart, and now they're already revealing cards from the set after that. It's all a little too much for me. Alright. I thought they finished the Jumpstart spoilers today. I thought they put out the last of them. Am I wrong? Looks like opponent has their own Red Cat Melee. Because something's holding priority for 1 mana there. So we can Lotus Cobra here, or we can just get the Chariot down. I think I like Lotus Cobra. And we also have the Fable Passage in hand. So we have a boatload of mana next turn. I think we hold on to the Innkeeper. I don't think we want to trade, because we know we have Red Cat melee, which makes their Innkeeper worse than ours. All the new magic cards are right for Jumpstart, but we're not sure about reprints. Okay. At our own Ranger class. Okay. I make green. I make green. Red. I make green. I make green. No, I tapped that white for a reason. I wanted to use it. We have time for today's spoilers? No, I don't think so. Like I was saying earlier, I've got a hockey game like right after the stream is over. But next time, we can go through them. Alright. I think we're thrilled to do this now. And we have Red Cat melee for their Winota if they play it. So everything is coming at Millhouse. Spellbinder. Okay. We just let them take the Red Cat melee here, I think. Got our own Spellbinder. That's pretty sweet. We play the Spellbinder, then we don't have the mana to Red Cat melee if they play Winota next turn. So if they have two Winotas, then we're sad. But I think it's unlikely they have the two Winotas this time. The only new card is a Marrow Gnawer, 3 and 2 black for a Rat Rogue. All rats have fear. I don't know what fear is. Sacrifice a rat, create a rat token. Create X rat tokens, where X is the number of rats you control. I see. So Winota's gonna cost 6. They have 6. They can play Winota next turn. That sucks. So I think we just try to get him dead. Let's just freaking go. Fear is a keyword ability found primarily on black creatures. It's an evasion ability that allows creatures to only be blocked by black or artifact creatures. Okay. Okay. I didn't see any other rats in the release. There must be more rats if that's something that makes sense. So if they want to play their Winota next turn, they have to tap almost everything to do it. And hopefully we can just kill them. We also have Red Cat melee to kill Winota after the fact. So they're gonna get Winota, but it's gonna have to be like the best Winota of all time. Yeah, that's not quite good enough, I don't think. So this is 5, 8, 9, 11, 12. Cool. So, you know, you feel like Spellbinder is going to be one of the better cards in the matchup, but it turns out that we've cast it twice at exactly the right time, and it still hasn't been good enough to stop Winota. Like, she's just come down the very next turn regardless, which is pretty frustrating. I guess their Spellbinder was good. Their Spellbinder took away our Red Cat melee. This hand is nowhere near good enough, unfortunately. Better. We don't have any white. We do get white from the Innkeeper. We are on the draw. I'm trying to decide which to keep, the Spellbinder or the Savior. I think their Winota plan is more likely to work than ours is, and I think Spellbinder is better at stopping it, so I think I'd put the Savior back here. Especially because we can't cast it on one. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So we can play Lair of the Hydra plus Innkeeper this turn, then we play a red next turn. And we can still play Minsk if we want. This is the only way this Hydra will come in untapped. But they could just have turn 3 Winota, and we could just die. Okay. So all of a sudden we have Winota of our own, if we want it. We have our own turn 3 Winota. They could have Red Cat melee in hand, which would make that pretty awful. But we only have one white, so casting Spellbinder here means not casting Winota for like the foreseeable future. Ah, screw it. I'm gonna cast Winota here. It's the highest upside play. They have to have an exact sideboard card. Okay. Is it Blade Historian or is it Kenrith? I think it's Kenrith. Okay, they found their own Winota, so this is just going to be a slugfest. They found their own Kenrith. Alright. Alright. So we take 10. So we have no white to cast Minsk, which sucks. If we swing out and find Blade Historian, we win. How many Blade Historians are left in the deck? There's 2 total, and we put 1 to the bottom. So we're fairly unlikely to find it, given that everything else is a human. So attacking out just means we die, unless we find exactly that, I think. The alternative is we play Asika's Chariot. Kenrith... They don't have red to give everything trample. They only get one trigger next turn. I think the safest thing to do is play the Chariot. Okay. Let's start with an attack from the Innkeeper. And a complete whiff. Nice. So they don't have red, they can't trample through. This is totally fine. It's a very aggressive attack. Uh, 3, 8, 12, 13. So we're not even dead. But I guess there's no downside to blocking like this. That's fine. Interesting. So this is 4, 8, 9. Okay, let's do it like this. I don't think this matters. No, come on, you gotta let me attack. Come on. That's no fun. Okay. 2-0. And 5-0 on the day, so pretty good. Wow. I mean... if they kill our Lotus Cobra, this is terrible. But Lotus Cobra on the play is pretty good. Let's keep it. Temple of Deceit. Play the Lotus Cobra. We can do it post land drop, why not? We don't have any use for the mana. Okay, so it is Rogues. So Rogues is probably our worst matchup. I think we have to win game 1 because their sideboard plan is just so good against us. We only have 2 cards in the bin though, which makes their counter options pretty awkward. Double Strike is great against Thieves Guild Enforcer. Not as great against, like, Soaring Thought Thief, which they might have. So, I think it's just Blade Historian here. We could Kenrith, but Kenrith doesn't really get any value, and they can Heartless Act. And if they kill the Blade Historian here, at least these are both trades. We have Drown the Lock. Okay. They could get the graveyard up to 8, conceivably, so I don't think I want to block. Oh, I should have noticed they didn't have Zareth. Or they didn't have Lurrus. Now they get the Chariot back? Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Oof. Okay. I guess we're caddying. So now Chariot can die. They attack back with Seraph, and they get to bring the Chariot back. Yeah. Yeah, I think this matchup is even worse for us than the traditional Rogue matchup, unfortunately. So they have just way too many points of blocking. No, why did you... Oh, I guess there was no way to play the Blade Historian and leave Red untapped anyway. That sucks. Okay. So we bring in our Oxes. Bring in Clothis. And we cut Ranger class, Blade Historian, Kenrith, and Spellbinder. Interesting. Okay. I mean, losing game 1, I think basically signs our death warrant, because their matchup post-sideboard is so good against us. Yeah, okay. So we badly want to get Clothis in play as quickly as possible. So if we play the Sentinel this turn... We're very good at drawing the Ox against Rogues, aren't we? I can just play this tapped. I don't want to Lotus Cobra until 3. If I can help it. I'm gonna play Island first. Island go. No cards in the graveyard means we probably get to Clothis this turn. Unless they, like, have literal negate, which seems like a bad card to have against us. I'm not going to attack because they could have Soaring Thought Thief. Just... there's not too many things they can have that will kill the Sentinel, but I'd rather have it back as a blocker if they have, like, Thieves Guild Enforcer. Tell me you don't have literal negate. They could have Brazen Borrower. The Zerasan version often runs Brazen Borrower. That's something that the Lurrus version doesn't get to. Yep, of course. But we're just going to put this right back, I think. They could have Dwyer Disruption. Let's at least play around that. I don't want to play the Lotus Cobra in case they have a way to counter the creature spell. If they have 2 Brazen Borrowers, then... okay. At least they're not milling us, which means we just keep trying this over and over again. Negate doesn't hit Colossus. I guess that's true. I keep thinking it comes in as not a creature, so it's a non-creature spell, but it is technically a creature spell. Do you have the second Brazen Borrower? Of course you do. Of course you do. There's Winota. I think their hand is probably full of, like, kill spells, so I don't think I'm into... I don't think I'm into slamming Winota here. I want the Lotus Cobra in play. Don't tap like that, are you crazy? No attacks. Do I finally get to keep Colossus on the battlefield? I do. Excellent. Did I win the mirror? Yes, I won the mirror. We are 2-0 with this deck. This is match number 3. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, they didn't bounce the Colossus? Interesting. I'll take the 3. That's pretty good. So this doesn't do damage. So it's definitely Winota. The question is what else? Definitely want to play the dog. Fortunately, if they bounce something with Ashiok next turn, then we might have to discard this Ox, which would suck. Now, attack the Planeswalker. Ugh. I couldn't pump the Lotus Cobra there because Minsk says it has to be as a sorcery, and it came in mid-combat. Okay. Okay. I cast Blade Historian. Okay. So he's very short on non-humans here. We can't even do that. Okay. Hopefully we hit the second Blade Historian here. If somehow we manage to keep Clothis on, then at least she's a non-human as well for Winota. I guess if the plan was to hit Blade Historian, I should have pumped the Sentinel to a 2-2 with Minsk. But hopefully this is good enough. Ashiok can minus on Winota, which is probably forced. Okay. So that exiles the Ox, which is pretty good play if you know we have an Ox in hand, but otherwise it's a pretty weird thing to do. Exile from our graveyard. Let's start with the Spellbinder. Whatever they're gonna do, let's force them to do it now. So killing the Blade Historian does turn off Clothis, which makes sense. Two copies of Into the Story, and we are on exactly 7 cards in the bin, so that's great. I think we just attack, and Clothis will just kill them if any of this gets through. Yeah, gotta be a good Into the Story though. Like, it has to answer Clothis and our board. I'm not sure what does that. Crippling Fear plus... Yeah. I got nothing there. Okay. Seems good. Barely managed to get there in the end. Yeah, let's get that 3-0. 6-0 on the day if we win this one. Okay. I've been keeping low land hands lately, but that one's a little ridiculous. We have the Ox in our hand again. I think it's the Blade Historian. I don't want to put the Ox on the bottom of the deck is the problem. Although I guess we'd shuffle it back in with Babel Passage. That was probably right. Especially because I need to do it now to fetch green anyway. Yeah, should have put the Ox back instead. But it's not that big a deal because the Blade Historian is so hard to cast with our Naya colors. Putting a card in the graveyard for them early on is not very pleasant. So we're on top deep, okay. So that puts me to 3 cards in the graveyard. Okay, now it puts me to more, but they're tapped out. So we can get the Chariot down. This is going to be hard to beat, though. This is going to mill us super quickly. They're attacking. They don't have Zarasan mana open yet. Now, if this doesn't feel like the Guild Enforcer, I don't know what does. But realistically, I don't think I can afford not to power up the Chariot here. If they have removal, they have removal, but... yeah, okay. We did draw 7 lands in our top. Well, in our first, like, 10 draws. And now I think the Ox is a little too late. It's not going to stop us from trying. We went this whole time with 0 Cadillac. Are you playing, Winota? Okay, let's attack first. Maybe they'll tap out. I want to play Lotus Cobra right into Ox. Playing Gruul, let's see. Okay. So they're going to swing in for 6, and we're just going to keep trying to bring back the Ox. But unless we draw, like, Sentinel or something, we're going to have a very hard time blocking these, and we're just going to kind of die. The attack is so aggressive that it makes me think they're not worried about Winota either. There's the Sentinel. I guess we want to take away stuff that would be good for Zarasan to steal. Something like this. There's Winota. So, if they have a counter, it doesn't matter what we do. If they have a removal spell, then playing the Spellbinder keeps us alive, whereas Winota doesn't. if we play Winota, we basically need to kill them, like right now. And I don't think we can realistically do that. I mean, we do get 4 hits off of it. If we hit Kenny... We don't have the mana, unfortunately. I was going to say if we hit Kenny, we can give everything haste, but even that doesn't make sense either, because Kenny comes into play after everyone's already attacked. Oh boy. I think it's the Spellbinder. I'm just so convinced they have removal. Yeah, and if they had a counter, then I'd rather they counter the Spellbinder than the Winota. If they have another Thought Thief, then we're dead. We're dead to Thought Thief, we're dead to removal, dead to loss. Yeah. Yeah, we're never gonna win that one. Ox got into play just a little bit too late. Okay, next deck.